Hi, and welcome back to Poem Praise 2, and peace be upon you. I'm going to let you know the extraordinary African American is going to be James Baldwin. He's a writer during a time period of 1924 to 1987, and this is the information I have on Mr. Baldwin. Now, I must oppose any attempt that Negroes may make to do to others what has been done to them. I know the spiritual wasteland to which that road leads. James Baldwin. And God gave Noah the rainbow sign. No more water, the fire next time. These lines from a Negro spiritual gave James Baldwin the title for one of his most famous books, The Fire Next Time. That Baldwin should draw on a religious song for inspiration is not surprising, since he began preaching at age 14. Born in Harlem in 1924, Baldwin was small, and the other children often teased him about his looks. Feeling unloved and ugly, he would spend hours by himself in the public library reading and writing plays, poetry, and short stories. In 1938, Baldwin entered DeWitt Clinton High School in Bronx, New York, where he became editor of the school newspaper. For the first time, he found friends who also enjoyed reading and writing. But his friends were white and Jewish, people his father did not approve of and would not allow in his house. Resentful of his father and unable to cope with mounting family problems, Baldwin left home at age 17 and began working on his first novel, Go Tell It on the Mountain. Now, in 1944, Baldwin met Richard Wright, the famous African-American novelist. Now, with Wright's help, Baldwin obtained a Eugene Saxon Memorial Trust Award, which enabled him to continue his writing. In 1948, his first short story, Previous Condition, was published, although he still had not been able to complete his novel. Torn between his loyalty to the African American community and his white friends, who could not understand the tension he felt as an African American man living in a racist society, Baldwin moved to Paris. Soon, money became a major problem. Hungry and broke, Baldwin was forced to sell some of his clothes and even his typewriter. Living in France provided a healthy environment for writing. However, the French did not reject him because of his color, nor did they sneer at his desire to write. This enabled him to do what he could not do in the United States. Creatively used his past and experience instead of trying to escape from them. In 1949, Baldwin's essay, Everybody's Protest Novel, was published. The publication of this essay destroyed his friendship with Richard Wright, who felt the book criticized him. Suffering a nervous breakdown, Baldwin went to Switzerland to recover. There he finally completed Go Tell It on the Mountain, which was published in 1953. After 4 years in Europe, Baldwin returned to the United States and sold his novel. A year later, he returned to Europe to work on a second book, Another Country, and a play called The Amen Corner. Unable to finish either to his satisfaction, he put both aside and wrote what would become his favorite novel, Giovanni's Room, in 1956. Now, becoming increasingly preoccupied with the growing civil rights movement in the United States, Baldwin returned to his native country. There he began to take part in sit-ins and allowed the movement to use his name for raising money. In 1955, the vicious murder in Mississippi of a 14-year-old African-American youth named Emmett Till had a strong impact on Baldwin. He was also affected by a trip with civil rights leader Medgar Evers to investigate the murder of an African-American man by a white storekeeper. These experiences became the driving force behind his play, Blues for Mr. Charlie, written in 1964. Now, as a result of his powerful books, Baldwin became known as a novelist and an essayist. Angry, yet somehow hopeful, his essays, like his novels and plays, often focus on what he saw as the continuing, intertwining destinies of blacks and whites in America. We, the black and white, deeply need each other here if we are really to become a nation. If we are really, that is, to achieve our identity, our maturity as men and women. Well, that's what I have on Mr. Baldwin for you this evening. I would like to thank you for tuning in to Poem Praise 2, and I certainly want you to have a peaceful and blessed evening, and I will be speaking with you upon tomorrow. So I'll give you a preview of the next extraordinary African American, and that's coming up in our book. It's going to be Miss Wilma Rudolph. Yeah, Olympic track and field athlete during the time period of 1940 to 1994. So stay tuned. And of course, here on Poem Praise 2, I will be speaking with you soon. All right, I'll talk to you later. Okay? Okay. Later, y'all.